It's Friday, so it's our news roundtable with me, Jason Nazar, Vivek Wadhwa, Tyler Crowley, Lon Harris reading the news. It's going to be an amazing show. We have a lot to discuss. Stick with us.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Introducing the newest members of the This Week in Startups producer program.
Every show, we salute the newest members. Actually, every Friday, we salute the newest members of the TWiST list. That's the producers program. There's 140 people on a back channel email discussing running startup companies, etc. And it's just a great way to discuss the show, to come up with the topics that we discuss, learn from each other. About 25 emails a day. Some days as few as 10, some days as high as 30 or 40. And if you want to become a producer on the show, go to twistlist.co. Today on the program, we have Jason Nazar, the CEO of Docstoc. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much.
Everything going well?
It is, but there's one problem. You put me next to Tyler, so
yes.
I'm going to look bad all show.
Yeah, he's a good-looking man.
Both in terms of aesthetics and what I'm saying. What are you doing here?
Well, I mean, nobody can keep up with all of Tyler's wonderful eyesight.
By the way, Johnny Carson, I don't think packed in his guest this time.
It is a little tight. It is a little
Move down
tight.
the couch.
Well, you know, the thing is, I took Tyler out of the corner, and then it's very hard to put him back in the corner.
Can't keep baby in the corner.
Tyler does not want to be put in the corner. Tyler, how are you doing?
Good.
And Lon Harris, you're here to read the news from, of course, editorial director of Ranker.com.
Yes.
And we have a lot of stuff on the line. Vivek Wadhwa is here. How are you doing, Vivek?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Where are you now?
I'm in Menlo Park right now, back home.
Oh, you're back home in Menlo Park. And you just got back from Chicago, D.C. You've been traveling all over the place.
Yeah, and I debated Peter Thiel, and then I got to shake up some people in Congress. So
yeah, Peter Thiel just wrote a whole piece on this. The future's not coming. It's over. Planes don't go as fast. Energy and batteries are not lasting longer. I mean, what was the story with that piece?
Jason, the debate I had with him was actually about what he did before the Thiel Fellows and this whole concept of kids dropping out of school. I also disagree with him about the fact that he perceives innovation to be dead. Right. Innovation ain't dead. There's a lot happening, and I spoke to him about it. I told him he's got to come to Singularity University with me and spend a few days looking at all the amazing things that are happening. Yeah. And he said he would do that. You know, to his credit, the guy listens.
Yeah, no, he's a big thinker, and he's definitely quixotic in his approach. Hey, one thing that you need for your company is MailChimp. It is the best email program. It's what I use every week when I send the Jason Nation or launch newsletters. And it's free if you have up to 2,000 subscribers and send less than 12,000 emails per month. Why is it free? Because they're great people running an awesome, profitable company, and they can afford to do that. So they're crushing the competition by making this free product, because they know that if they help you grow your business, at some point you'll become a paying customer. So everybody says, oh, why are they giving the product away for free? Because they can. And they kick butt, and they're crushing the competition. I've used the product for 2 years now, or maybe more, and it is flawless. I use it for all my events as well, all the launch events that are going on when I send promotions. And we're using it actually to send promotions for the This Week in Network. In between each show, we send a little update. Hey, here's what's coming on the next show. Here's what happened on the last show. And it is unbelievable. 20, 30, 40% of people are opening those emails. And then 5, 10, 15% of the links are getting clicked on. It's small numbers at first. Like we started, hey, there's a dozen people on the list. Then all of a sudden you turn around and you got 500 people on the list. And you're like, wait a second, if I plot this out, I might have 10,000 people on an email list next year. And email is where people live, and that is their permanent address. Social networks come and go. Twitter, Facebook, Google+, MySpace, Friendster. People are going to be on and off those. So if you start building in somebody else's ecosystem like that, you're not going to maintain a deep, tight relationship for the test of time to build your brand directly with the consumer. And that's my advice for anybody building a startup. You know, independent of MailChimp, I believe email is a very powerful thing, but I believe that the most powerful way to execute on an email marketing strategy and to build a deep relationship with people is this fine product, MailChimp, because that's the one I use. This show is sold out. I already made my money. I don't even need to have sponsors on this show. That's my new catchline. I made my money. I don't need to be. No, seriously. I don't need to show for MailChimp, and I'm not. If we were sitting there in a cafe and you've been with me, and people say, how should I build my mailing list? I say, oh, just use MailChimp. It's easy. It's easy. It works.
You have startups pitch you, and then you say, do you have an email newsletter?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, like you need to get on MailChimp.
Exactly, because like how
you do it.
I mean, Docstoc, how many emails do you have in your database at this point?
About 20 million.
20 million? Oh yeah, because you did that whole gangster thing, like, oh, if you want to see this document, give us your email or not. And it's be honest.
Like a nice gangster.
Yeah, it's pretty
like
gangster. That's right. That's all right. You and Zuckerberg, you're just sucking all that information down. But it is critical to your business. Would you say
Yeah,
those
but
emails?
I use MailChimp.
You do?
We use MailChimp to help send out the emails for Startups Uncensored.
Ah, very
through
good.
Eventbrite.
Oh, really? Yeah, because it connects very well to
Yeah.
Eventbrite, right? See, and that's the thing that's amazing too. The product is so well integrated with the other best products out there, like SurveyMonkey or Eventbrite. All these. What happens is all the great products integrate together. So then, Eventbrite's internal mail system is pretty bare bones. You can't really do a lot with it. But when you plug it into MailChimp, boom, you got a winner. Everybody use MailChimp. It is the best, and the free plan will always be free. That's their promise to you. Lon, what's in the news?
Well, we gotta start off talking about the iPhone, the new iPhone. It hits today. It was unveiled last week. It sold over 1 million units in its first 24 hours of being available to pre-order.
Damn!
When the iPhone 4 launched last year, it set a record for Apple by racking up 600,000 pre-orders in a single day. So to compare, 400,000 more than last time.
And what do they make? 100, 200 beans on that?
They gotta
make 100, 200 beans.
Something like that.
Means they made like $200 million the first day.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Profit!
The latest gadget, it smashed all the company's previous single-day sales records by more than 66%. In terms of first-day orders, the iPhone 4 is the most successful product in Apple history. And also, Apple stores reportedly saw some lines this morning, although by most reports, the scene was more mellow than it had been for maybe like the iPad 2 launch. But bear in mind, the iPad 2 did not have a pre-order option.
Yeah.
So everybody had to go out if they wanted to get one.
This is a critical thing, this pre-order thing. Keep going.
Right. So the one other thing to mention today is it's been so popular, so many people are getting their new phones and trying to activate them that AT&T's activation servers have been completely overloaded, causing to a lot of upset people on Twitter complaining about that they can't connect. They're getting a message, could not activate iPhone, your activation is still pending. So they got their new toy, but they cannot actually use it yet. So think the initial disappointment that we heard about when the phone was first announced, all the tech blogs were saying, oh, it's not the iPhone 5, this is a weak release. Yeah. Was that just because bloggers had been overhyped? Is it a sign that the tech pundit class is disconnected from the rest of the country, that everybody else seems so hyped to get their iPhone 4S?
Well, of course they're disconnected from the regular class, but that's what makes them great, is that they're just so obsessive and ridiculous about it. But it's a significantly different phone, but mostly based on the software and the iOS 5 update. So the cloud backing up, Siri seems to be the real deal. And selling 1 million units, the HD camera actually for most people, like most people who have kids or something like that, that's a major deal for them. I know it is for me. Like instantly, it's got an HD camera, I want it. So that was my decision-making process. But what do you guys think?
Keep talking. I took some photos. I just came from the Apple store.
Right.
There was 40 people in line.
Yeah, and normally it would be 300 or something.
Yeah, and I went inside and I took the phone right next to my regular 4 and I took 2 photos.
Right. Stunning difference or no
I'll
difference?
show them on my screen in 2 minutes.
Okay,
I'll go get
go
the
ahead.
photos.
Yeah, sure, Tyler.
And actually, I'll pull them out of my email. And then I emailed them to myself.
Yeah.
And you guess which one is which.
Okay, we'll play Guess, the iPhone 4.
You play Guess which is the iPhone 4S.
But I have to say, the interesting thing they did this time, which I don't know if it's a good marketing strategy or not, is they let people pre-order to, I guess, get the money and to not have people be frustrated in line. And that's not how they typically do it. They usually give the people who wait in line the sort of preference, and then everybody who orders gets it after. So I think that they've made it more pleasurable for the majority of people, but I think they took some of the fun out of waiting in line.
It's like a fast pass at Disneyland.
It's sort of unfair, right? I sort of think like maybe they shouldn't, while I appreciate it, and I'm sure the people who work for me, who I'm like, get me that phone before everybody, appreciate it because nobody has to wait online for my phone.
Right.
But they sort of took the magic out of it.
And
then
you'll
also,
remember that pre-order process itself was not smooth. People were up at 3 a.m. They're refreshing the AT&T site. That's going up and down.
So you do get to go to the cut to the front of the line if you pre-order? Because if they
you
really want
get it at the same time.
They're just mailing
if you really
it
want to be maniacal, you pre-order, you get them in the store, you made them wait in line, and they got to buy more stuff. Which is what the purpose of a fast pass at Disneyland, which is that
get you off the ride and to get you to the
out of
pizza
line,
store,
so you buy more stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have both photos on my screen.
All right, let's pull up Tyler's computer here. Let's see. I'm going to guess it instantly. I'm not going to guess it instantly.
Wait, which one's the?
One of them is my phone. One of them is
It's hard to
the
see
new
because
4S.
you know what the problem is? I think the resolution of the monitors in the studio, as good as they are, make it
No,
hard.
that's not the problem. Here, look on my monitor here on my laptop.
right.
No, you can see it's pretty
right, let me see.
similar. It does look like the one on
No, I'll be able
the
to tell.
The one on the right's better. Come on.
Well,
the one on the left of the
I'm
screen.
gonna
is
have
a
to
lot
look at a
brighter.
detail. I have to look at the detail of something, and also Tyler may have shaked his hand to screw up the stats because he likes to fool people.
When did Calacanis become this forensic expert?
I'm gonna
we have Dexter here.
say.
Notice where her thumb is. These were taken simultaneously, immediately next to each other.
Okay.
These
Which
are-
one was in your left and which was in your right? So that's the question. Because maybe
if you
your
got to
left
think
hand
that
shakes.
deep into it, that means the camera is not that
honestly-
much better.
I say it's not that. There's not a clear-cut difference here, and
Right.
everybody's going to think the one on the right is better. But this might be a case of this is not the photo that would demonstrate the camera's power best, and certainly in an HD
Why
video.
wouldn't it? It's got plenty of things to show detail, and it's got depth. It's got this
Here,
a really
I
good
can't tell
setup.
the difference, but I'm going to say right because right looks a little more clear. Is right the right answer? I think everybody
The
says
one
right.
on the left of the screen is brighter because the camera's tilted
Right,
up a
but
little
look at-
more. You can
it's
see
more
that,
blurry.
so it's a little bit
you
harder
don't see
to
the
tell.
detail level on the left.
Tyler,
I
tell
think that
us.
might be why the right looks better, though. I'm not sure it's because the camera.
The one on the right is the
New one.
4S.
Of course it is, yes, because you can see the detail level in the
Of
lights.
course it is.
I said that. I said that. But I say, of course it is, because you can see the
Of
detail.
course it is.
I said you can see the detail level on the right. It's clearer from the right-hand side that the detail level is better, but it's not so much better that you would say, wow, it's different.
No. I was shocked.
You
I was
also
like, what?
took 5 minutes to analyze it and had a magnifying glass.
Okay,
and a
true enough,
forensic
true
expert.
enough.
So
Vivek, what do you think? iPhone 4S, you disappointed? You don't care?
No, I think the magic is going to be in the voice recognition technology. You got to realize that we've been talking about these technologies for 2 or 3 decades now. It's finally come of age, and I think that what Steve Jobs is going to do, the late Steve Jobs is going to do to voice recognition is what he did to tablet devices and iPods. He basically has taken technologies which have been building up over a while, and he's going to revolutionize them. Now you'll see voice recognition everywhere. We already have some elements in our cars and so on. You'll see that over the next 2 years or so, everything becomes voice-enabled because of the iPhone. That's where the magic is going to happen.
Yeah, see, I have to agree with you. I think Steve Jobs is, God, we're going to have to keep correcting ourselves. It's so depressing. I think
know,
that
it's,
Apple, it doesn't even feel like it's Apple. It still feels like it's, I'm going to keep saying Steve Jobs. I think
fair.
Steve Jobs you're right. He likes to push some technology that nobody else could commercialize, I guess would be the way to say it properly. So he's going to take voice recognition technology and actually make people use it. But there is one thing that I don't know that even the mighty Steve Jobs can triumph over and the mighty Apple can't triumph over, is that you look like a huge dork when you talk to a computer. That's why people don't like it. Like drag and dictate is pretty good. But when you sit at your computer and you're like, file, new, hi, it's different when Picard walks up to the, thing that makes his tea and he's like, Earl Grey, 108 degrees, and it forms a cup of tea. That's different than being like, new, email, send
Jason, give it another
to
year or
Tyler.
two, it'll recognize our voice, and it'll recognize our voice. And you won't have to say, computer do this, computer do that. It'll be natural that you'll be able to communicate in a much more friendly way with your devices. And just watch the changes that happen over the next 2 years now because of the 4S.
Will it be faster or just easier? That's the question I have, Vivek.
The one thing which no one seems to have picked up on is that the reason why he had to wait until he had the faster processor was because voice recognition requires a lot of analytical technology. It requires computing power. So this now has the computing power necessary for voice recognition. Until a year or two ago, you couldn't have powered them, with this body of voice recognition because the processor wasn't fast enough.
Right.
Now you have the memory, the processor, it's all integrated, and it's come of age. So that's when the magic's going to happen. Just watch over the next 2 years.
Yeah, it does
Everything will be
seem.
voice enabled.
It does seem like out of Steve Jobs' playbook to wait until it's going to be delightful to use, just like he held the tablet for 4 years or 5 years to make sure it's delightful. Maybe he bought Siri 2 years ago. So, has anybody used Siri yet? I haven't
I
actually
did
used
it today.
You did it today.
And I also wanted to say, I went across the street to the AT&T store in Wilshire, like a few blocks away. 5 people in line.
Yeah, Verizon had maybe 15 people outside. I mean, it's just easy to order online. Why would you?
I did
do
it in
anything
the
else?
store. The store was really loud.
Did it work?
Because it's mayhem in there. It didn't. I said, send a text message to, and then my phone number.
Yeah.
And then it did something totally different. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But the store was crazy
It's loud and crazy.
Very loud.
Yeah. If you drive and you're in a city where you drive a lot,
Yeah.
this becomes very appealing if it
No
works.
doubt.
And in my old Corvette, in the Mercedes. I've got voice recognition technology on these things. I try it once. It's so bad. I'm just like, F it. I'm going to risk flipping the car and pressing the...
And the whole thing with these voice automated systems is you have to trust it. It only works if you can trust it to actually do the thing that you're telling it to do.
Yes.
Like, if the dream would be like, reservations for 2 at Father's office tonight at 8:30, and then it would just do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not... In order for me to rely on that, I have to know my reservation's actually been made, so it has to work really precisely. And
Yeah, but
I
you know
don't
what?
think it does yet.
I think Vivek is right.
You're forgetting one ingredient, though. You're forgetting one thing. You have to train the device to recognize your voice. If you go through that process, it'll become a lot easier. I mean, it'll become a lot easier to use, and the voice.
Does this
and
have
the device will recognize
well,
voice
it.
training on it?
And the
Yeah,
other thing is,
it's-
this is version 1.0.
But
Yeah,
does this version have voice training
This is version
capability?
1.0.
Vivek, do you know if it has
I
voice...
think it does. I mean, I
Yeah.
read that somewhere.
Yeah.
Listen, even David Hasselhoff and Kit needed time to
Yeah,
They have
exactly.
to get used to each other's
No,
voice.
you know
yeah.
what? Kit was a bit of a wise ass. I mean, it was, you could never...
Michael.
Michael, are you sure?
Very passive aggressive.
Very passive aggressive.
Michael.
I think he was. I think Kit was gay and was jealous of Michael's.
What was the other car that had the orange
Anyway,
color? You know, he had a different voice.
let me tell you something though. What
I don't remember.
I
Remember
think
there was a-
There
I'll
was.
tell you what the
Yeah, there
magic
was like
will
an
be.
evil
That was
kid car.
definitely jumping the shark.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a late
More.
season.
Yeah.
Here's the magic. This voice recognition technology, perhaps not in this version, but in future versions, Siri will become part of the operating system, and Yelp will be able to put this stuff in. And now Yelp will have a voice menuing system and command. So if you say Yelp, now you're in a smaller subset of words. Where if you say open table, now open table knows you want a reservation. Can
Right.
I have a reservation for 2? It knows that's why you're opening it.
Right.
And I would like a reservation for 2 at this restaurant. It probably will have its own database of just the restaurants in your area perfectly
There's no
set.
reason why, and this
Yes,
is
and that's exactly right. That's
this-
exactly right.
the real
You got it.
genius
I mean,
part to
that's
all
what's
this
gonna
is
happen.
that it's the new interface for searching. You're not actually going to Google anymore.
This
They're
is-
hijacking the input to search.
This is the cannonball across the bow of Google. And actually, I can tell a Steve Jobs story now because I guess now this pass would be okay. When I was planning Mahalo, I emailed Steve and said, I think search is going to be like largely, this was 4 years ago, involved in whatever. And I sent him a login, Steve, and a password. 5 minutes after I sent it, I'm watching, boom, he's all over the site at 1 a.m.
Really?
Never told that story before except for right now. That's the kind of guy Steve Jobs was. Somebody sends him something that's new and innovative, and that's where I knew from 4 years ago he's interested in search. And that's the gangster way to figure out what's going on. You know, like if you're an investor and people send me links and a password, I know that they get an email and an alarm when I log in. Or if they send me a Bitly link, I'm like, I'm not clicking any Bitly links in email. Now I click a Bitly link in email. People are like, I see you clicked my Bitly link. Now will you invest in my company? You know, it's like, oh God. Okay, let's go on to the next story. Steve Jobs
But
is
to
a
your
genius,
point,
rest in peace.
All they really have to
This
do
is going to be significant.
set up an API kind of thing for every app out there
Yep.
so that they could plug into Siri.
Yes,
and now
yes,
they've hijacked
yes.
the whole thing.
Angry Birds, pull Redbird back 62% at the 704 position. Go. I mean, you could put, and you know what? I'm right now. I'm announcing that I'm resigning from all my companies, and I'm working on mind control because that's all that's left. It's the mind controlling what happens on the screen. And you know what? I guarantee you, there's a team at Apple working on that. I guarantee you, on the roadmap is I look at the device and I think I'm pulling back the Angry Bird and sending it, or I think where I want to go. And you know what? It sounds crazy that we're going to get there. I guarantee we get there in our lifetime.
In our lifetime, you think we're going to be able
I will
to
make
think
a
our
long bet.
phones to
Long
do stuff?
bet.
Wow.
I'll make a 40-year long bet with somebody here that within 40 years you'll be able to control some functions on your phone with your mind. And I think like volume.
It works on Fringe already, so
Yeah.
how far away could we be?
Jason, it'll be much sooner than that. Jason, there are already a lot of technologies which do things like that.
Yeah.
At Singularity University, for example, the students demoed to me a device that they put on their head, which was controlling a remote control car.
Yeah.
So that's already possible right now.
Right,
It's,
so-
you're talking about 10 years from now, not 20, not 40 years from now. It'll happen.
Isn't
Watch.
this something that women have figured out for the last 2,000 years, where they just look at men?
Or how to get men to look at certain things and get them to do certain
certain
things.
things
Next
already?
story. Next story.
Google engineer, I may mispronounce his last name, Steve Yegi,
Yeah, sure.
wrote an extended rant on the social networking service bemoaning what he calls Google's, quote, failure to understand platforms. He meant to just share the missive internally with other Google employees, but accidentally published it to the general public. Much of the discussion centers on his years with Amazon and his complaints about that company's organization and culture, but he also does get in some attacks as well on the failures of Google+. Here's the key quote. Quote, Google Plus is a knee-jerk reaction, a study in short-term thinking predicated on the incorrect notion that Facebook is successful because they built a great product. That's not why Facebook is successful. Facebook is successful because they built an entire constellation of products by allowing other people to do the work. Later, he calls Google Plus a pathetic afterthought. The original post long since deleted, but because it was reshared so much, it's now very easy to find if you look it up online. So do you guys agree with his assessment that Google doesn't understand platforms and that they're not putting enough of the right kinds of resources and care into Google+? And if you were his manager at Google, how would you deal with the fallout from this?
So first off,
Nazar.
I actually think this is a really good thing, because anytime there's open discourse and discussion about your product, better things come from it. So
Sure.
if I was running Google, I would say, hey, I hope all my employees, are out there. If anything, it's giving them free press.
Right.
Now, the particulars of what this person's saying, I disagree with his Facebook analysis. You don't build something day one that's just full of apps and platforms. You got to get people using it.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like an angry engineer that wanted a feature set in and to build something really geeky and cool, and that got overridden for certain business decisions.
Yeah.
And he's mad and pissed off.
He's a little bit of a crybaby.
Yeah.
And he also really rips into Amazon and Bezos. It got a little personal in there when he was talking
Yeah.
about Bezos squashing people and them running around like ants. It was a little bit emotional.
Yeah, the whole first half is really just why he thinks Google's so much better than Amazon. And
Right.
then he gets into
Right,
what he
and
doesn't like about
just
Google.
to be clear, I mean, I read his thing, but he's not exactly clear, but because there's so much ranting going on.
Well, and it was intended for coworkers,
Yeah.
not mass consumption.
He's basically saying if you have to build a platform like EC2 and then let people build on top of it. And he's saying Google Plus was rushed and
doesn't play nice with
doesn't.
other.
Yeah, but they're building out the
things.
API and
Why?
they're putting
because
things
they don't
out.
have apps in it yet? I mean, this
Yeah,
doesn't
they're
make
getting
sense.
there. I mean, what does he
Yeah.
expect? It's over. The thing's 6 months old. It's got 40 million people. It's a tremendous success. To call it pathetic is just stupid. I agree with you. He's not seeing the forest.
just-
in the
it's
Jason,
trees.
he ended
yeah.
up, Jason,
Vivek, what do you think, Vivek?
he ended up doing Larry a big favor here. Because what he's done is he's created major controversy within Google itself. Every Google employee has read that memo. It's got them thinking. The risk for Google is that it goes the path of Microsoft, where you have all these tribes that battle each other constantly. What he did was he lit a fire by challenging the culture of Google itself. This is the Eric Schmidt Google versus the Larry Page Google. And I think there's a lot of stupidity in that. But he's done the company a big favor by bringing this all out in the open, because everyone is talking about it, everyone is aware of it right now. I know I have many friends in Google who've been telling me about the internal debates that they're having on this, because they had to read this. They don't normally read stuff that's posted there. They had to read this.
And I agree. It'll make the product better for the fact that people are arguing and disagreeing over it. And
Yeah. I mean, this kid's got cojones.
Exactly.
Google Plus is a prime example of our complete failure to understand platforms from the very highest levels of executive leadership. Hi, Larry, Sergey, Eric, Vic, howdy, down to the lowest leaf workers. Hey, yo, we all don't get it. I mean, it's like a little bit of a peanut butter manifesto like that guy from Yahoo, but, there are people, building things correctly.
Have you met those people, though, that are almost too smart for their own good, and they just complain about the fact that, why am I smarter than everybody else but not as successful?
Yes.
That's what this guy feels like to me.
Yes.
And I'm sure he's a genius, and I'm sure he's amazing at what he does.
Tyler's sitting right next to you. Okay, I just want to let you know. It's not, you don't have to talk like that about him.
Hey, Rebecca, I really like that guy. I would hire that guy in a heartbeat. That's the sort of employee I want to have, who's ready to take on everyone, including me.
Yeah, you want to have somebody to push the envelope. I like his thing because I think it had a lot of substance and a lot of detail. And I think it's so
long,
easy
it's
to
really
counter this and
thoughtful.
say, Facebook is running away with it. Google Buzz had great promise, and we need to build another product that gets into the market before Facebook lead is insurmountable, and we have to be aggressive. Building it as the perfect platform means you might have put it out a year from now. Google doesn't have a year.
So what's the next?
They had to build their base of 40 million users for Google Plus now and get the dopes like me and Scoble engaged in it, so that the rest of the public gets engaged in it next year or the year after.
But what's the next killer feature? Because the one thing I will say is, and I don't know if you do, Tyler, but you've said it before. It's a great place to go promote. You get a lot of traffic from it.
Yeah.
But I can't say that I'm going there to really consume information. It's just still too much. So what's its next killer feature?
You have
the thing like photo tagging that's going to really make it break out.
Well, hashtags have come out, and it's incredible. And sharing circles has come out. And those two features I find are incredible. I created a circle of 300 developers, and it took me a couple of hours to do. But I wanted to invite people to the event next Friday, the Launchpad event, where I'm inviting 200 developers for free and then charging 50 people $1,000 a ticket.
People already in your circles or
no,
new people?
I just did a search for Cocoa developers, iPad developer, iPhone developer, added those people to circles, then said, hey, I made a circle of 80 iPhone developers. Anybody know any more? Got 50 more people to respond, and then added those and kept resharing it. The people I put in that circle told me they got 1,000 people, new followers, in 48 hours. 1,000 new followers in 48 hours. So now I, as one of the top 100 users with 90,000 people, I can give 1,000 followers to this list. I mean, it's so much more fluid. So this idea of creating circles and groups is, nobody's doing the hard work of sharing the group. So then I shared my VC group, and I shared my CEOs and founders of Note, which you were in. You may not realize it, but if you look at the day I shared it, you must have gotten 500 more people following you. That list functionality doesn't exist on Facebook.
It does now, as of
to share it, to reshare it, and put it in your feed. Okay, well, that's what I'm talking about. But that's what I'm referencing, Tyler.
Facebook is already starting to copy what Google Plus did.
Which is correct, which is what Dopey,
that's what I'm saying.
Dopey Smurf, who is so pissed off, and he's got to call out his bosses in an email. I mean, listen. Anyway, he's all dopey, and and I'm not saying he's dopey
for. This is a company wide. Is that the deal?
He said it was an accident. If an engineer doesn't know how to use, and he's like, it was late at night. If you don't know how to use,
can anyone in Google
Plus,
send email to everybody in Google?
He posted to his Google Plus,
right, with his coworker circle, and he shared it publicly instead,
which is a lie.
Well,
I think he's a liar. He did this. He needs attention. Baby needs attention. Baby got attention, and now he's going to move up. It's a brilliant strategy. Listen, if you're working in a company and you got a pair of cojones and you want to go for it, yeah, sure, write a memo like this. But you know what? It might also get you bounced. So, but I think it's a brilliant thing because I know who Steve Yaggy is.
Going back to the question earlier on, but what happens next with Google? What happens when they integrate Google Docs into it? When they integrate Picasa into it? When they integrate Google Voice into it?
Yeah.
These are things Facebook can't do. Google has a broad set of technologies, Gmail, all integrated in there. They'll come up with creative ways of doing it. Now you've got these third-party apps that are building on Google Plus with all the benefits it has and all of the other Google things. That's when Google becomes a killer platform.
It's going. I said this from the beginning, Vivek. You're exactly correct. It is. Google will split the social space. It's going to be an equal two-horse race, 50-50, in the next couple of years. When we get back from the commercial break, Bravo is casting a Silicon Valley reality show. Zynga has a new game network. YouTube is a cable rival. Microsoft's Skype acquisition was approved. Foursquare introduces radar. Blackberry outages. iOS 5 crashes. My God, all kinds of interesting stuff coming up right after this commercial break. Let's cut to commercial. Oh, wait. I read the commercials. That's so good. The whole engineering stuff. Did you hear him? What? Oh, I'm just kidding, guys. I know I read the commercials, and I love to read a commercial for GoToMeeting. Vivek is coming in perfectly crystal clear. I mean, I would like to have a microphone. Next time, can we send him one of the $50 microphones? But beautiful, crystal clear.
I've got a $200 Bose microphone on now.
All right, better. And we're using GoToMeeting HD Faces. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Look how handsome he looks and how smooth and buttery it is. If you want to get taken seriously, get GoToMeeting, and you can get together for a meeting anywhere on your iPhone, on your Android phone, on your iPad. Go download the app. Please go download the app from the App Store right now while you're listening to the program or listening to this on your smartphone. Download the app and try it. Attend a meeting in a taxi. Attend it in an airport. In a hot tub like Tyler does. GoToMeeting will change the way you work. You could do what Lon Harris does, which is he does GoToMeeting on the 10 freeway. I don't know if that's legal or not, but
While driving.
while driving, yeah. We're doing a GoToMeeting the other
I
day.
like to hold the phone outside of the car, get a nice little effect going
Actually,
on.
yeah. Actually, the three of us, me, Tyler, and Lon, we all did a GoToMeeting while driving on different freeways here in Los Angeles. GoToMeeting does not suggest that you do GoToMeetings while driving. We do it anyway. We're
Nor
crazy
does the
like that.
California Highway Patrol. They frown on such things.
Yes, they do. Please don't do that, but please go download it. And hey, congratulations to Alex Rogers, the winner of the MacBook Air contest. GoToMeeting is, again, one of those products that I actually use. The program is sold out. No advertising is left. That is so awesome because I get to select the advertisers, and this is one that I love and I can endorse wholeheartedly because you'll use it and love it. GoToMeeting is the best. Much better than all the rest. GoToMeeting. You've used GoToMeeting, yeah?
I use it probably every other week.
Really?
Yeah, for 5 or 6 years.
Great product. Rock
Great
solid.
product.
Why would you use anything else? No. That's what I hear from everybody. It's like, listen, it's like
And Citrix is just a great company. They're actually based out of
Solid.
Santa Barbara, which was my...
solid, rock solid. And that's the thing. Use the promo code START. You get 30-day free trial. And you want to be taken seriously in business. Don't use one of the free inferior products because it might break in the middle. You get what you pay for. You want stability. You want to look like a class act, huh? Ashpet, listen to me. All right, next story.
When is Rovio coming on as an advertiser? With all the Angry Birds references on this show.
You know what? I'm out of slots. I don't know what to do. People want me to do 3 days a week. And then people are talking about doing 5 days a week.
I'll tell you what, Jason, you should just think that you want them as a sponsor.
Right, and then
see if they show up.
Secret.
No,
them.
it took, I'll tell you to be honest, it took 2 years and getting the show to 50, 100, 150,000 viewers per episode. I mean, it's incredible.
It's a big deal.
But now we sell out, and you know what? These guys don't give up their ad slots because they know, like, if they give it up, somebody else might buy it for 3 to 6 months. And we're just so lucky, so
It's
lucky.
like your season tickets. Once you're in there,
You're
you gotta give them up.
you're good. All right, next story.
All right, let me see which is the next up. Oh, we'll talk more about Google. Google they announced today in a post in the official Google blog. Google VP of Product Bradley Horowitz announced the company planned to axe a number of products in the coming weeks, included in the purge Code Search and the Code Search API, which allowed people to search for open source code around the web. Jaiku, the microblogging and social networking community Google purchased in 2007, which I think a lot of people probably didn't realize was even still active. iGoogle is losing all of its search social features. Those are all going into Google+. There was a university academics-only Google search that's going away, and Google Buzz, which all of the Buzz links are going back into your Google profile. So you'll still be able to get your data, but that product is going away. Anything in here you think people are going to miss?
No.
And how did Jaiku manage to hang out for so long?
Was Jaiku actually running and working?
They're saying they're shutting it down in like a month.
Are they shutting the group down?
No, but
or
Yuri left
Yeah.
Jaiku a year and a half ago to
You know,
start
it's
something
very
else.
interesting, and this goes to perseverance. Jaiku and Pounce were both better versions of Twitter.
Right.
They
had features Twitter didn't have.
i.e. a better version, a better mousetrap. Thank you. 5, 10 features, inline video, the ability to upload an MP3 to Pounce.
Yeah.
Jaiku had lists and groups, all this stuff. Better products. Jaiku sold too early. Pounce quit too soon. If you're an entrepreneur and you do it for a year or two and you're not successful, guess what? It's year 3, 4, and 5 that matter. It's not year 1 and 2 that matters. If you hit year 1 and 2, that's just luck.
Year one, Jaiku and Twitter were really kind of close.
Jaiku in Europe. Remember we went to Europe
In
and it was
Europe,
just like
it was all
everybody's like,
Jaiku.
we were like, tweet us, and they're like, Jaiku you?
Yeah.
You know, like that was it.
I remember.
I mean, terrible name, great entrepreneur. But remember, the founder of Jaiku spoke at that event.
That's right.
And then they bought his company for like $10 million.
Yep.
Don't sell your company for I mean, if you need the money, do it. But don't. If somebody's willing to pay you $10 million for your company, that means your company's got the potential to be worth $100 million, right? Nobody's buying something they can't grow tenfold. So stick with it is my advice. That's the lesson here.
Really, Jaiku, you think?
I'm telling you, when Twitter was down
Right.
and there was no viable alternative, nobody left. Facebook has a viable coexister in Google+. 40 million people have tried it, and probably 5 or 10 million are using it as their primary. There has to be a viable alternative. And once you're in the game, things can happen.
I just remember when all those Twitter competitors all of a sudden started coming out, and everybody was already into it. So hard to get people to take this functionality they're already using and just move over to your system.
You know what, though?
You have to have really killer features to lure them away.
I truly believe Pounce would have become a significant social network if they had not given up, because all the features you see in media sharing right now, a la Spotify, Facebook,
yeah, sure.
like that was in that version. chill with like people watching
Right,
video.
it only works
Yeah,
if
but
there's
listen,
people in it.
Pounce wasn't made by 3 young people known in the garage. It was Kevin Rose, and it had the full marketing weight behind it. It was a huge beta, and it had a year to really simmer, and people didn't take to the product. So it's a
So
little
they should have
different.
kept iterating.
I mean, you liked it that much?
It was very well done. Yes, it had threaded messages, things that
Because there are still Twitter competitors, like Plurk, I think, still exists. And,
Plurk was always not well executed though.
Yeah.
They had that sort of like one interesting timeline.
Yeah, it's like the whole time. I mean, they were doing timelines
Anyway,
before
next story.
Facebook.
This is a boring story.
Zynga.
Google shut a bunch of stuff down.
Zynga. Zynga unveiled a new game platform at its Unleashed event in San Francisco. It's going to compete directly with players' times now spent on Facebook. The platform's going to launch sometime soon. It's codenamed Project Z, and it will be hosted on Zynga's own site, though it will still be powered by Facebook Connect. Alternate names, possible names, Zynga Live, Zynga Direct have been mentioned, and you're going to have a username that's your Z tag that works just like your gamer tag in something like Xbox Live. We don't know exactly when it's going to launch. There were some other announcements made by Zynga as well, including new mobile games and new Facebook games as well. The event marks the first time Zynga has ever hosted a major press conference. So why start a second network that is still reliant on Facebook logins, I think would be my question. Like, if you're still going to rely yourself on the Facebook sort of social graph, why port it over to a different website?
Vivek, what do you think?
Because you don't have to pay Facebook their fees for currency if you have your own network. Facebook doesn't charge you if you use their login. They charge you if you transact money on their platform. I think that's the driving reason. Zynga needs to get off that so that Facebook can't hold them hostage the way it has been over the last year or two.
Yeah, clearly that's the reason. And also, there's huge optics issue right now. Everybody's saying, oh my God, you're tied to Facebook at the hip. What if Facebook decides to get into this business? What if they charge you more? And he's got to really, on an optics basis change that, and he's going to get that question over and over again as a public company. I have to tell you, I loaded that goddamn Words with Friends, and my wife and I played it, handing it back and forth. It was, it's annoying like Zynga games can be, like, because it's constantly asking you to like share it and do this.
Stuff, yeah.
I just want to play the goddamn game, But after I have it on for like a week, I've gotten 20 requests to start new games with people. I didn't realize how many people I know are playing Words with Friends on their iPads. It's an incredibly addicting thing. I don't know how they make money off of it.
What's the purpose of the game?
It's just Scrabble.
It's Scrabble, but basically different enough that you can't get sued.
Well, and they came up with a pretty good, that was the first place I think a lot of people found that the way that the games are actually structured, so it's turn-based. So you don't have to be live with somebody. I can take my turn, and then I wait for you to take your turn.
So people have like
then
20 concurrent games.
Right. So now there's chess games that do that, and trivia games that do that. And there's like that model has become really popular because it's really convenient. Because that's when you pick up your iPad when you're waiting in line or something, and then you got.
But what do you pay for in that case? You don't pay for Word with Friends is free.
Words with Friends is free.
Chess is free. Would you pay? Is there anything to pay for?
I don't know. If
I don't know.
Premium versions or something.
But
aren't they probably just trying to get free users?
Yeah, I think for now
they're trying to get users into their network right now.
Right. For now, they're just trying to addict you.
I'll give you a prediction.
Here, let me see.
And I'm good friends with Mark, so I didn't get this. I have to give a little disclaimer. I didn't get this from him, but knowing the way Mark thinks and having seen him, fail with Tribe, guarantee you Zynga will be a full-blown social network to compete with Facebook within the next 5 years, next 3 years, because I think, whenever you have this tension between the ecosystem and the person living in it, the only way for that person, to maintain the balance of power is the threat of going to another viable ecosystem or creating what the ecosystem itself has. And he's a large reason why Facebook is so successful, certainly the time on the site. So Facebook now has to wonder, well, he's doing iPad, Android games, and he's got his own destination. When that negotiation comes up again for the 30%, and I predict that Mark said, I'll give you 10%, but we'll keep it public that I paid the 30%, but he's probably getting some kickback somehow, like marketing dollars, so he can save face.
Or maybe just like a sword for a game, or extra good credits for his own playing.
Oh yeah, he might be getting. They may have given him.
What do you think of the IPO, hey, Jason? The Zynga IPO. What do you think about that? Is it going to happen?
Oh, it's going to happen. I think Zynga is the real deal. If you gave me $1 million to invest in Zynga or Facebook right now, I'd invest it in Zynga.
Why?
Because I think that gaming category is going to become so huge, it will last the test of time. and Facebook, I think that they're so overvalued right now that it's going to be very hard for them to appreciate in value at 80 billion, 85 billion. We've already seen for the last couple of months they haven't been able to go up. In fact, some transactions have been slightly down. Like, some people paid 85, some people paying 82. It's not material, but it's not going up anymore. So maybe you put $1 million.
I wouldn't invest in either. I would not invest in either. Facebook is way overvalued, no doubt. It's a good $10 billion company, but Zynga isn't a $30 billion company, and their revenue isn't predictable enough to be a public company yet. They should have waited another year or two to get the stability you get after a period of time. They should have buffered their revenue, and then they should have gone out. So they're now being lumped in with Groupon. The New York Times.
Yeah.
We're talking about both of them cooking the books.
Yeah, I know they're not cooking the books because they didn't release any sort of creative accounting. So I agree with you to a certain extent, Vivek, that they are going out early. However, what I will tell you is I know Mark as a business person, and he is going to take that public currency, and he is incredibly deft at getting people to join the mission with him. The number of companies they've purchased and kept the employees of to grow this thing has been astounding. And he will take that public currency and he will buy up every game company. He'll be making Xbox games. He'll be making movies. I mean, he has DreamWorks, Disney level ambition. And I tell you, I remember I was with Mark and we were boating on, he had this really crummy house in Lake Tahoe, and we were out there boating, and he was so upset about Tribe not really getting there, and he was just so wanted to build something big, and he thought Tribe would be it. And the fire in his belly is different than the fire in any other entrepreneur's belly that I've ever met. He is the real deal. He will become legendary, more legendary than I think people give him credit for right now. They think he's just like a quick hit with Farmville. I don't think so. He's brought amazing talent into that company. And gaming has been a tremendous, bigger than the movie industry type thing. And who is the growing company in Electronic Arts? No. Those guys are all now chasing him because he's got these massive profit margins. And people want to play casual games, not these complicated games. People don't want to pay, the large groups of people don't want to play Call of Duty. Like Jason Rapp here, our president of Mahalo, went to play Call of Duty. He's never picked up one of those Xbox controllers. He's like, I felt nauseous. Like, you have to control two different things. It's like, it's too much for most people.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be an audience for that, and like PC gaming, which is even more like on a complex level than console gaming. But you're right that the average person is just discovering this world of social video games, and I mean, it's the new version of Minesweeper or whatever.
Really focus more on the behavioral science of the user of the game as opposed
game mechanics.
The compulsion loop, yes.
Yeah. And I just got this, Samsung just sent me two of these beautiful Galaxy S2s.
Is this product placement?
No, they sent me two. They gave me one for free. Everybody sends me this stuff to check out. I wound up giving it away on my Twitter account, but they gave me one to give away, so I'm going to give this away on Twitter later. But, I mean, goddamn, these phones are getting so big and the screens are getting so awesome that I think that it's starting to feel more like this hand feel of this new Samsung. The monitor is 25% bigger than your iPhone, I guess. It feels more to me like a PSP,
Yeah, 3DS
or
something.
a 3DS.
All that technology is kind of coming
together. Look at this.
Together,
it's starting to feel like a two-hand kind of experience. And with mobile and social and internet connectivity,
it's got more processor. That's got the dual-core 1.5.
And the graphic stuff. I mean,
better than most laptops from a year ago.
Jason, have you heard about India's $35 tablet?
Well, it's a subsidized
I'll probably have it on Monday. $35 for a device like it's $50, but in volume they can get down to about $35 or so. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that tab, I did see that $35 tab, which is subsidized a little bit. You said it's $50 actually, and you can surf the web on it. I mean, it's not going to play like the hardcore GPU games, but the point is,
the subsidized price is $35, but it will be available in stores for $60. So that's the subsidy. Yeah.
But I mean, the Kindle Fire being $199, the iPhone 3G whatever S is free now with activation.
3G.
3G is free.
Yes.
Right.
Apple will be coming out with a 7-inch-ish tablet, I understand, which will be smaller than the iPad, obviously bigger than the iPhone. And they're all going to go to zero with data plans. All of them will be zero with data plans. And when the iPad goes to zero, these games are going to explode, and Zynga is going to be in the driver's seat for it. Now, and they're providing true value. People really love to play these games, and if you think about what you pay to play the game, $1, $5. I mean,
we used to play a quarter per play.
Right, it was 25 cents a play. So, for parents, they're like, their kids are screaming in the back seat, and they're like, oh, you want to buy the Thunder Chicken or something else for $1 in-app purchase? Give me that goddamn thing. Boom, is it going to shut you up for an hour? Go play. Like, that's basically what parents are doing. I see it. I go to these kid parties or other things. I see parents are just like, here. And instead of giving their kids Ritalin, they just give them an iPod Touch. I mean, it literally is the ADHD medicine of this generation. Here, play Angry Birds. Better than taking a narcotic. Next story.
Okay. Bravo, the cable TV network known for such reality shows as The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Millionaire Matchmaker, is apparently looking for young professionals to star in an upcoming reality show based in Silicon Valley. From the casting call email, quote, are you a hotshot lawyer who works hard from 9 to 5 but parties even harder after dark? Maybe you just got your break working at one of the biggest internet companies, burning through the late night hours and partying in the even later ones? Or maybe you're a middle school teacher in a small suburb, but you have a secret wild side. Looking for people in their late 20s to early 40s living in Silicon Valley who have a full-time job and a full-time lifestyle. So, what do you think the chances are of this being
lifestyle.
in any way an accurate representation of life in Silicon Valley? And does the success of the social network and stuff like that mean that people are hungry for stories about technologists, or just that Aaron Sorkin and David Fincher are talented?
Hey, I want this opportunity to rip into Jason. I mean, I saw his tweet, and he was suggesting himself and a bunch of other white guys.
Absolutely.
You realize that 52% of Silicon Valley startups started by people like me, foreign-born, not the native white guys.
Yeah, okay, that's exactly
What do you have to say, Jason?
people want to see. They want to see a bunch of Indian guys. Oh, your C++ is so effed. I can't believe that you put a recursive script in my... But that's what
why are you
this
forgetting us? I mean, me and my Chinese friends and all the others are 52% of Silicon Valley, my friend. We're the majority. You're the minority here.
No doubt.
It is true. It is
You
true.
like it or not?
Go through Fremont.
I know. Let me tell you something. This has made my life... As a conference producer, it's made my life so much better because people stop saying, like, where's the diversity on your panel? I'm like... Yeah, where are the white people? Like, every founder is Indian, Asian. I mean, there's no more white guys starting companies. Like me, Kevin Rose, Jason Nazar, and then it's like, who? No, my tweet was basically that I tweeted that we had accepted, and it was me, Kevin Rose, Arrington, Saka, and whatever. But it was a bunch of white guys. But
yeah, I know. I take issue with that.
this is...
We're the majority here, not you white guys.
You know what? I just picked the people who are CEOs, Vivek. That's all. I just picked the successful CEOs, not the people working for them.
But I have to rip into you because you rip into everyone else, so why should you be spared?
It is true that there's... It's actually, I wonder, it's more so in Web 2.0 that we're seeing more Indian and Asian founders. Like, you did see plenty of them working for the first generation, but now it really is the 2.0 group that is starting their own companies. It's an interesting observation. People in my generation was a lot of white guys. Now
I don't know if you're allowed to say your own observation is an interesting observation.
No, I think his
the
observation.
point, and you're like, it's an interesting observation.
It's really Vivek's observation, not mine. That I was trying to figure out why when I tweeted, I was like, oh, my contemporaries from Web 1.0 are a bunch of white guys.
So let's talk about
it's really
the show.
Web 2.
Is it going to be successful? Is this show going to...
Oh, it's going to be a disaster.
Real Housewives of San Jose?
Yeah, no.
But people don't realize is how boring the internet industry is.
Right.
And how exciting can it be to have people for 16 hours in front of their computer?
Yeah, I think a lot of this is like the social network, and now it's
it.
kind of the trendy, hip thing to
They're
tell
trying to
these
make
stories.
a TV show out of the
It's not
Right.
going
But they-
to work.
I think
They misguided. They think we have these wild parties in Silicon Valley where you have these beautiful women and all the stuff that you saw on social network. They're misguided. They have no idea how boring it is, as Jason says.
I think it's somebody's whiteboard. And
I mean, Jason is the most exciting guy in Silicon Valley. What did they tell you about Silicon Valley?
That's true. It's a fair point. When I'm the most exciting guy going, I mean, but it's like, yeah, what are you going to do? You have a bunch of programmers like ordering Domino's at 11 p.m. Like
Bloomberg has that show about tech stars.
Yeah, but that's
it's interesting.
It has its moments. Yes, it does. But
Somebody needs to make a parody trailer for this.
that would actually be funny.
Real Housewives of Palo Alto.
And release it as like, here's the trailer for the Bravo show.
You know, I think if they do it in San Francisco, with the Burning Man culture and a little bit of the,
set on Silicon Valley.
It could be.
I don't think that's what it's going to be about. I think it's going to be about the money side, like the struggles you go through when you're trying to raise money, you try to sell a company.
I think they just want to do real
inner
world.
office room. Really, the truth is, somewhere in a whiteboard in Hollywood, there's a list of every single kind of job and event that happens in life, and they're just going one by one in reality.
Yeah.
And starts at the bottom.
They're like,
We look for people looking for jobs, people that don't have jobs, people that have houses, people that don't want houses, the wives of people that want houses. Now they've just gone to the bottom of the list.
This is a very
which
big.
is the internet industry.
This is a great
websites.
This is another great observation because they're casting for this show after Storage Wars and porn stars and tattoo artists are the most popular thing on television.
Well, you're not going to top toddlers and tiaras. I mean, try as you might.
I have to say, the fact that Storage Wars is like one of the most popular shows on television.
Extreme couponing.
I would like to see you on the show, though. If the show is done, I would like to see you on it.
The ideal show here would be you take Jason, Mike Arrington, and Arianna Huffington and put them on a desert island.
Survivor.
And let's see what happens.
I will absolutely. I'm going to tell everybody right now. I've been approached many times to do reality TV. People don't know this. Many times. And I've been approached for many different types of shows, not tech-related. Like, the standard shows that you see on television, many of them I've been offered. I was offered to be on Secret Millionaire, other shows that I can't say. Because
they asked him to take his shirt off and he wouldn't do it.
No, it wasn't the shirt issue because I could get buff in that amount of time.
Right?
All right, that was half the issue. That was half the issue. Half the issue was I'm embarrassed about my gut. But I will tell you what I will tell you right now. I will, if they make a sizable donation to charity, or if Mike Arrington agrees or Arianna agrees to give the donation to charity, and it's something meaningful for charity, I'll do it. Sure, put me and Mike and I'll box Mike for $1 million. I absolutely will if it goes to charity. I'm willing to get in the ring.
You realize he's like 9 inches taller than you and 100 pounds.
Absolutely.
Let
me tell you something. Mike Arrington and I do a boxing match. He's knocked out first round.
Oh.
Guaranteed.
That's a challenge.
$1 million.
You're throwing the gauntlet down right now.
$1 million. Guaranteed.
All right.
Knocked out in the first round.
This is almost like a Macho Man Randy Savage. Like,
I want you in the ring. Let me tell you something. They're going for. I'll tell you what they're going for. They're going to go for more like. That's why they're asking for lawyers and partiers because they know that developers are boring.
Right. They don't want somebody.
They don't want to do the Apprentice kind of thing. They want to do like Real Housewives nonsense.
Yes.
I've watched Bravo before.
They want rich people who've made their money in tech and are now going to be like big over the top personalities. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I would never do any of that stuff. I like doing this show. Well,
I've always thought we used to talk about that. Like you would be great on a Gordon Ramsay type show where you go into failing tech startups and turn them around.
I would do that. I would do that.
That
would be fun because I bring in Jason Nazar to help with marketing. Have Tyler Crowley come in and help.
Just you going in and they're pitching you and you're like, this is terrible. Here's what you're doing wrong. And like you're fixing it.
I like that idea better. Let's go to the next story.
According to Business Insider, Google is throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at TV and other video content creators, hoping to fill YouTube up with premium content. An executive who has found himself bidding against Google for video content told BI they're fronting production costs to the tune of tens of millions of dollars per deal. Larry Page talked obliquely about this plan during this week's Q3 earnings call, saying we're in a good position to help users find the content and media they're looking for. We're in a great position to help those companies and publishers and content creators find the right users and get paid both through advertising and directly. That's the logical place for us to be. So, do you think Google can get people to start thinking of YouTube as a place for professionally made premium content, or have they too closely branded themselves with sort of Charlie bit my finger and other kinds of UGC? And if this is true and Google is desperate for great video content, why does it still seem pretty rare for there to be full-time professional video content creators in the YouTube ecosystem?
I can't comment on this really because I'm involved in it.
You are in the midst, yes.
I'm not.
Go ahead. Comment. You know people involved. I know.
I
know everything about this story. I'm literally involved in this story. I cannot comment on it for contractual reasons.
But what's the real question here? Yeah, of course they're going to compete with cable and produce high quality stuff. What are we debating or talking about?
Well, I think the question would be sort of the branding issue is do people think of YouTube as that kind of a destination? Like, I'm going to go find a great show that I want to watch. Like, people think of
it can.
Of course it can, and of course it will. Because you're not going to, right now you think, like when you thought of YouTube 3 years ago, it was, okay, I saw something embedded on a MySpace page, and that's how I consumed it. But eventually YouTube, you're just going to watch through your TV or through Netflix or anything else. And if there's content on there that you want to watch, you're going to watch that. You're not going to care if it's called YouTube or Netflix or Hulu or channel NBC4.
Yeah. Vivek, what do you think of the possibility that Google
I don't watch TV anymore. I haven't had cable for 2 years now. All the information I want, I do a Google search, click on it. I don't care whether it's on Hulu or YouTube, where it's posted. I click on the link, and I watch the shows online. Everything I watch is online now. So this is what the future is.
They're going to be on
makes a lot of sense.
No one was watching AMC except like my mom and dad 3 years ago. And then AMC had Mad Men, and it
Yeah.
had Breaking Bad, and now everybody
Right. So
watches
one
AMC.
hit can do
So
it.
if
they invest in 25, they will do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically, I'm in agreement with Jason's point. And also, you have to remember that their entire homepage experience right now is based on your subscriptions, right?
Right.
Whatever you subscribe for is on the homepage, or it's based on your subscriptions, and if not your subscriptions, what has gotten the most views and clicks? Well, what gets the most views on YouTube? Things that have large subscriber bases, like iJustine, Angry Orange, whatever. People who were there from the early days.
Annoying orange.
Whatever, the Angry Orange, the Perturbed Potato, I don't know what it is. Whatever you kids, the badass banana.
It's actually, the name of it is La Naranja Irritante in
Oh,
Mexico,
really?
which I was supposed to.
Whatever. The crazy cantaloupe, whatever it is. Listen,
Spin-offs.
the gregarious grape, whatever,
No, that's
whatever
good.
it is now.
That's good. I hope
All
Dane's
that
at home
stuff
writing this down.
is nonsense that advertisers are not interested in. Users are very interested in it. Teenagers are very interested in it. So YouTube already has that. So it's not bad. But now they need to build this other piece to get the premium advertising.
They
and to
need
get
to-
that premium
yeah.
advertising, they need stuff that looks like television and that is on televisions. And the front page experience has to change from being driven by solely trending charts and subscriptions. It has to have a level of curation. And this is really the issue for me, which is Google will not curate their search results. They're like, oh, we're just going to have this algorithm do it. And the algorithm then takes a business like mine or yours or anybody, just decimates them, and then you have to really build it back up, and there's no opaque, it's totally opaque, and there's no curation that occurs. So people can steal find documents off Docstoc, build a whole bunch of scraper sites, and outrank you, and it's probably happening because of Panda. I know it happened to us, and other people are having that happen. Is that happening?
In part, yeah.
Right. Incredibly frustrating, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can talk to Matt Cutts, he pats you on the head and says, hey, congratulations, we love you, it's not going to be that bad, there's more update comes. But then on the other side of the business, YouTube, they're saying, we're going to pay you to make content. We're going to pay you to make content, and we're going to put it on the top level. We're going to make an editorial decision on what to put on our front page, and we're going to incentivize people by paying them. Well, wait a second. What's the difference between doing that on YouTube and doing it on Google.com? So
that's not a fair comparison. I mean,
why is it not a fair comparison?
Because while YouTube's results show up in Google, it's a closed experience, so they can control it however they want. Google's the search engine to find the best quality information anywhere across the web.
Like Zagat or ITA? That happens to be the two best pieces. Those are the two best pieces of information
those aren't
food and in airline content.
Those aren't integrated. Once those are
Those are
integrated,
not.
They're not integrated into Google's results yet. When they
ITA is.
When they are, if they give preferential
Zagat
treatment for
into
those.
places.
What about places?
We had this the last time.
Yeah.
You as a consumer can go anywhere you want. If you don't like Google's results for local,
See,
don't go to Google. Go to Bing.
You're carrying
That's
you're
Eric Schmidt.
carrying the party line because you still have a vested interest in the Google ecosystem. You're not being honest.
You're
not being honest, Jason.
Whether I was
You have
involved in
your
the
business
tech
to
industry or not.
protect. You're protecting your
No,
business because
it's
you
a-
want to have a good relationship with them. The truth is, they
No,
should.
no,
You don't
no.
think that for your business,
no.
would it be better if they had a human being say, "This is the best confidentiality agreement at this site, and let's put that first"? A human-powered search engine, if you will.
No, because any search you do is going to be subjective based upon somebody needs, wants, tastes, and desires.
Right.
And my point.
So a computer algorithm should pick it.
My point of view is not driven by the fact that our company does drive its traffic and revenue from Google, and today we're dependent on it. It's driven from a libertarian philosophy, which says, as a consumer, you can go anywhere you want.
Right.
If Google today,
But let's talk about the
on every
algorithm.
single
I agree,
page,
I agree.
wanted to put a big red button that says, "Give us money," and it flashes at you, they've got their own right to do it because it's their product. And if
Right.
we don't like it as consumers,
I agree.
we should go somewhere else.
But let's talk about the algorithm. Should an algorithm pick what is best in the world, or should a human? What would you prefer?
I don't think it.
The pause speaks volumes, Vivek. What do
You
you
think it should be a human? How would a human? No, I don't think.
Human look at the algorithm and do a level of curation on top of it. That's what they're doing on YouTube, and it is similar. People go to YouTube and they do a search the same way they would. How do I make whipped cream on YouTube?
Totally agree that some combination of both is the best.
Okay, so you agree that humans should be put on top of the algorithm?
Yes.
Okay, so we're in
because it's
agreement.
not realistic and it's not scalable.
And that's my
point.
point. Is what they're doing at YouTube will come to Google.com. They will embrace
Well, no,
human-powered
that's on
search.
Google.com. They've said publicly that
The reason they don't-
that part of the search algorithm is driven by human reviews. That's part of what drove all of Panda. That's part of the process today.
Yeah.
That there are people that review sites, and if it gets below a certain threshold quality score, it's negatively ranked.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to the next story.
The European Commission has approved Microsoft's $8.5 billion acquisition
we're
of Skype.
59 minutes in. This show is going so fast. Go ahead. We'll do lightning round.
All right. So European Commission approved Microsoft's $8.5 billion acquisition of Skype last week. Skype will now function as a business division within Microsoft that'll be run by former Skype CEO Tony Bates. It seems likely that Skype is now going to be integrated into Microsoft devices and platforms like Xbox, Kinect, and Windows phones. It may also be connected through Outlook as well. It's been suggested. Acquisition still under review in a few countries, so it's not totally 100% global yet, but this is expected to happen soon. So Microsoft, not known for being able to hold on to those who come in from the outside. Do you think they can more successfully integrate the nimble Skype and allow it to thrive within their system?
Vivek?
No. Microsoft is a series of tribes. Their structure is screwed up. They can't assimilate technologies. They don't advance. They need to be able to. Microsoft needs to be a series of small companies that fight each other. That's when you'll get the magic happening. I think, Jason, you would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that it's time to seriously consider breaking up Microsoft, at least into 2 or 3 pieces. 2 pieces. You know, Xbox could be spun out, the Office franchise could be spun out, and the platform Windows could be spun out. If you just split up Office and Windows, they would be better products. And I have to tell you, Skype has sold at the peak, and they really need to open up a very powerful API, you know, so that people can build things. Like, I'm seeing some early stuff in Google Hangouts, and people are building really interesting things with Google Hangouts thanks to the open API.
Yeah.
So you're going to see all kinds of creative uses of this, from education. You can think gaming, education.
Like,
I can't say all the details, but
yeah, a lot of like
imagine
slideshow things, so you can plan a presentation and other people can collaborate with you.
And that exists in a lot of other products. But I think the magic will come when, you know, somebody says, hey, here is a game, for example, Words with Friends. What if you could open up Words with Friends and it connected over Skype, and you clicked on somebody and it automatically fired up their Skype window? Pretty interesting, right? So all the games that have been done already, and you can think like quiz show games or whatever, could actually be done in
what do you think
Hangouts.
about social viewing? Now that we're on there, Facebook's already got it, so you can watch Hulu on Facebook and type with your friends and communicate live.
Yeah.
I don't see people using it. Obviously, Google Hangouts could go that way as well. Is that ever going to be an experience?
Well, I mean, look,
people
we
are
have
gonna be
Google
really
Chill.
keen
We have
on?
Chill going on right now, and I have
Right.
to tell you, although I was not certain that this would be a big deal, I can tell you people are staying in the Chill chat room for twice as long, 3 times as long, and 3 or 4 times as many people are showing up now, because for some reason they like to see the goddamn avatar there, and if the layout's better, I have to say,
The
Ustream.
chat room is called Chill?
Chill.com is another third-party company.
Yeah,
And
Brian's company.
Yeah. So we syndicate now our Ustream into there, and I have to say, Ustream and Justin need to look at their interface and how much of their interface has so much clutter and cross-marketing stuff on it, and how beautiful the Chill, Chill has leapfrogged Ustream and Justin in terms of their interface, and we don't have control of our interface over at Ustream. So at some point, Chill will have their own streaming software integrated, and then maybe we stop using Ustream. Like, we love Ustream, but Ustream doesn't give us the flexibility and the gorgeous view of this Chill room, which I have on my screen here. So I think that, hey, competition is good. Next story.
So a 3-day disruption of BlackBerry services spread to North America on Wednesday, frustrating millions of users. RIM advised clients of an outage, or RIM, advised clients of an outage in the Americas and said it was working to restore services as customers in Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and India all experienced patchy email deliveries and no access to browsing or messaging. Not fully known why the core switch at the company's Slough data center crashed, only that it led to the biggest network outage in the company's history and the 3rd major outage since 2007. So is this the sort of thing that you think is likely to push users to other phones and platforms, especially now that competition is mounting fiercer than ever? And how can they best respond to this crisis?
This tweet here
We'll
pretty
forget
much.
about it by next week.
This tweet pretty much said it all. If you want to pull it up.
Pull up Tyler's computer for a second, please. Or I can pull it up. Tyler's
There it is.
computer.
They got
Cool.
it.
Dear BlackBerry, thanks for honoring Steve Jobs' death with silence for 3 years. Oh, God, that is so cold. That is screwed up.
Ouch.
I almost canceled my BlackBerry after a decade of using them and loving them just the other day. Very close to getting rid of it, because I literally replace this Bold every 2 or 3 months because the trackpad or something freezes, and I have my assistant tell them every time, Jason's going to throw it away and never use a BlackBerry again if you don't replace this. And I'm not like pulling like the social media card or anything. We just say we're not going to renew it. They say no problem, we'll send you a new one. They literally have sent me 4 of these goddamn things in the last year and a half, 2 years, because they keep breaking. The hardware is borked. I mean, it's still the best way to get email. It's still the best keyboard. Please, Apple, please, now that Steve Jobs is gone and you don't have to not have a keyboard, please allow somebody to make a third-party keyboard for the iPhone, or just make an iPhone with a keyboard on it. Can you imagine if this was an iPhone right now and had the iPhone operating system and the screen was just a little bit bigger and just had a keyboard at the bottom? I'm desperate for an iPhone with a keyboard. I hate the keyboard on the iPhone. And I got the Motorola Droid Pro or whatever it was, that keyboard. That thing, the battery lasted an hour or two, and it was just terrible. The Android system.
Apple's never going to release an iPhone with a keyboard. You can keep dreaming.
God, but can you imagine if they did?
Maybe eventually a hardware solution or something, but they're never going to put a keyboard on
buttery. But anyway, RIM is...
It's all going to be voice recognition, my friends. Forget it. The keyboard is out. Voice recognition is the future. Just watch it the next couple of years.
But let me ask you, all right, we're back to the voice recognition. What if I'm writing something that I don't want other people to hear? That everybody's going to be walking around,
well, you get a little microphone and you
hey,
whisper.
honey, I'm going to be 3 hours late. I mean, it's going to be like a terrible word. People are talking too much already.
Yes, and if you're typing on a keyboard when you're walking around, you're going to fall down and hurt yourself very badly. You're better just talking quietly to your phone and dictating your email or whatever.
I told you that
it might be.
story that somebody
That's
was
the future,
talking about
not
a deal
keyboard.
on a Southwest flight. I told the story on the show.
Guy
was talking about a deal. Guy was talking about a deal and deal terms on a Southwest flight. I'm sitting like catty corner to him. And it's just some banker wanker, and I'm not going to say what firm, but I'm finding out what firm. He's literally talking about deal terms, like valuations, money, who's this guy, that guy, mentioning names that I recognize. So I tapped him on the shoulder, and he's on the phone. He's like, I'm on the phone. I'm like, I know the people you're talking about, I said to the guy. And he was like, I'll call you back. I was like, you're a banker and you're talking on your phone like that? And then people are going to do that with their emails? Really? I have a new thing. This is what I do. If somebody's talking too loud on their phone, like online in Starbucks, I take out my phone. Yeah, hey, how you doing? No, I can't talk right now. No, I know, that was hysterical. I know, it's not so funny. No, Terra Nova sucks, I know. It's like watching 90210, but with dinosaurs. It does suck. It's terrible. I start like yelling into my phone, and the person in front of you is like, what are you doing? And I'm like,
Hey, Jason, I got to tell you, most people in the world don't spend their lives on airplanes. They don't have to socialize the way you do. Most people have privacy, and that's where they use their computers. So you're talking about the small exception for people. You can have a laptop if you really need to type on the plane. But the fact is that if you can just be talking to your devices naturally, that's the way to go.
I don't know, for people walking around dictating tweets into their phone, they'd be like, hashtag first world problems. Siri
at humblebrag.
It'll be a lot more natural. You're assuming we're stuck with hashtags. There'll be different ways of communicating. Different.
I am sure
it's. That's the future.
I believe
60s is so. Keyboard is so 1960s. Go forward. No, don't go backwards, guys.
I'm gonna be like taking people's phones at bars, and I'm gonna be like, order pizza home. It's gonna be open up a whole new.
Well, it's interesting too if you look at.
No, you're going to say, deliver this kind of pizza, pepperoni pizza with extra cheese to my house at 7:00 tonight. Simple as that. Done.
I think the reason I think it's actually you're right is because Domino's will make an app, and there'll be an app for that.
Right.
And so I would be like, no, that's not going to happen. But you know what? Domino's going to do it. You're going to log in with your Facebook. It's going to have your home address, and you're just going to say, order. Pepperoni, and it will read it back to you.
If you look at like science fiction in the 40s and 50s, it was always like computer, pull up quadrant, and they didn't have a good sense for how it would be. If you look at modern films about the future, it's always you can have a chat with your computer and just tell it what you want. We just assume that's how things are going to play out eventually. Like Moon, if you've ever seen that movie.
And
Moon,
Apple has made it all possible. Getting back to where we started from, now with the Apple 4S, this is the beginning of a new revolution, the voice recognition revolution. Just watch what's going to happen over the next couple of years when people start taking advantage of it and seeing the potential. When you start having apps there, when you have visionaries now building the next generation of voice recognition, when you have security based on voice, Because right now you have to log in and do all these things. Well, I talk to my computer. It knows who I am. It won't listen to anyone else. It won't display my commands to anyone else. All of that is possible today.
I'm not completely sold on it because like I just started thinking about Movie Phone, and remember Movie Phone like was
Hello.
like, hello, how many
You have
tickets?
selected.
Yeah, it's like, oh, shut up, Movie Phone. You know, I just have all these bad experiences. I hope it's not the same. Well, we'll find out later today when I upgrade my phone. Thanks to MailChimp for providing flawless email services to me for 2 years and for supporting independent media like This Week in Startups. Thank you to GoToMeeting for providing flawless meetings for myself, Jason Nazar, and everybody else in the world. It is a great, great product. Jason Nazar, thank you so much for coming on the program, sharing your thoughts, and for making a beautiful program like Docstoc's premium documents. That, I hear, is doing very well.
Thank you.
Is that $20 a month for that?
It is, yeah.
$20 a month, I get access to all these documents. Now,
Yeah, Tyler just paid for an account and signed up while we were here on the show.
now wait a second. If I pay $20 a month for this, I can get like an NDA?
So we both have a library of 30 million documents we've collected from user-generated content over
Right.
4 years. Plus, we've built out our own library of 10,000 documents that we think are the most important for small business owners and operators.
For $20 a month. And so if I use that NDA without having a lawyer review it, it's like better than nothing, right?
It's a really good starting point, and as someone that went to law school, I would recommend to consult an attorney where needed.
Right, where needed. So there's a little bit of a disclaimer, but the fact is if you're not doing anything right now in terms of contracts, you could get by with some of those contracts.
But we're also launching a new product that's going to help you complete business, legal, and professional documents by having you answer a series of questions. So it's kind of like TurboTax for documents.
Interesting. TurboTax return. I like that. Vivek, where can people find you aside from @Wadhwa? WADHWA.
Go to my website. It's got all my contacts on there. My wadhwa.com, WADHWA.com. You got all my emails. Everything is on there. My articles, everything.
Washington Post.
Washington Post, Business Week, ASCE. I write for a whole bunch of publications when I get time.
Awesome.
Not TechCrunch anymore.
Hey, Tyler Crowley, thanks for being on the program. Lon Harris, of course, of Ranker.com. Things are going well over there?
Going great, yeah.
Yeah?
We're doing a lot of crowd rank stuff, a lot of cool stuff with data.
Compare and contrast working for this guy, who's the CEO over there?
Clark Benson is the
Clark
CEO.
Benson versus working for Jason Calacanis.
You know, both of you are very hands-on with the product. So
that's good.
It's a nice transition for me to work with a bunch of people who are every day spending all day in the actual product, using it and making
Faster or slower than
helpful-
working for me?
the pace is definitely a little different. It's not quite as.
What job do you enjoy more? Did you enjoy more?
Oh, they're like my children. My jobs.
See, I can't get it.
you.
I get the question. All right. Hey, what a great program, and we will see you all next time.